Hello, everybody. This is Joy and Sean coming to you
Hi,
from,
everybody.
Greensburg for me. And Sean, you're in the Ohio area,
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio. But welcome to our SOC Talks with Joy and Sean. We're on here every week just to kind of give you some insight. No scripts, no anything. We're very transparent. We want to share with you different things that we've experienced and gone through in our career, and hopefully it'll help you in some way, shape, or form. But today we are super excited because we have Miss Callie Teegardin from Sugarland.
Sugarland.
Sugardale. Very candid. I told you that. And gosh, your award for the year was
Affiliate of the Year
Affiliate of the Year last year with our company. So we're very honored for you to take the time here today. And we just wanted to ask you a few questions on how did you get here today? I mean, not here. You might have driven, or you're in your office, or whatever. We're talking about
I'm at home, but I was out.
She walked to her office and sat down. So yes.
So we just kind of want to share today our different stories on how we got started with doing what we're doing.
So I love it. And thank you guys for having me on. It's such an honor to be here. I was excited when you asked me. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, thanks. Well, we're excited when you said yes. It's like, oh my gosh, now what do we do? Get on the schedule. So anyways.
So how did I get here? How did I get to send out cards and into network marketing? That's the question.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I was... Go back to 2006. I was full-time corporate America. I had just switched jobs because I was miserable. I have a sales background. I was at a transportation company. I was miserable in that job. And actually about 2005, ended up switching jobs, going to another company. And a few months into that job, realized it wasn't so much the job I was miserable in. I was miserable in the corporate world. And I was miserable in the corporate world because my boss of my company owned my life. I had 12 days of vacation. And if you guys know anything about me,
that's not enough for you, right?
No.
Not for you, girl.
Not enough. That's like one day a month. Like, that's crazy. And I was just like, the next 35 years of this is so not an option. And this is part of the story. I went in one day. I was working with an industrial supply company, and I was in national accounts. I was making a sales call with one of our local sales reps, and this guy had a retirement clock on his desk. And I don't know, he had less than 1,000 days. He was less than 3 years retirement. I figured out what my clock would be, like 35 years times 365. And I'm like, yeah, this doesn't work.
Panic attack.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, I got to find something. And I ended up getting introduced to network marketing. Send Out Cards is not my first company. I was actually introduced to a skincare company. I went to a home party type, and I'd been to a ton of home parties in my corporate career. And I never realized that network marketing could be something that you turned into full time. I always thought network marketing was something that a stay-at-home mom did to get away from the husband and kids at night so she can have her own life and drink some wine. And right, because that was the only story I was ever told about this profession. So when I went to that first, when I went to a party, my hairdresser was doing it, and her sister was in from California, and she talked about how she was getting ready to quit her job to do that business full time. She'd been working, I don't even remember how long, but the whole got my attention was she was getting ready to quit her full-time job to do this. And I'm like, you can do that?
Wow.
Like, I had no idea. And so I ended up signing up, got started on the products, and that was February of 2006. And in March of 2000, a month later, I went to Africa for my very first time. And we went, and I used 6.5 of my 12 vacation days, and it was
Whoops. Lot to look forward to after that.
I had to use the half day because I was leaving. I was salary, and they still charged me the half day. Like, it was crazy, right? That kind of tells you the company I was in. It was a great company. But yeah, those policies were a little too strict for me. And so I ended up getting into this profession, got started. as a way to get out of the corporate world. And so fast forward about 3 years, and I had convinced, I was married at the time, my ex-husband, and I convinced him that to let me quit my job and just go build it. I was not at the income level, like I hadn't replaced it, but I wanted to, he wanted to travel, so that was the really good thing. And 12 days of vacation wasn't working. And so I was building that business, getting ready to quit, and I needed a way to stay in touch with my clients in that business. Birthday thank you and holiday cards, right? My mom raised us as card senders. I knew the importance of writing thank you notes. I wanted to distinguish myself to my customers because if you think about it, skincare and makeup, you can buy anywhere. You can buy at CVS, you can buy at Walgreens, you can buy at department stores. And I knew I needed loyal customers where they kept coming back and buying. I also needed a way to recognize my team as well in that business. And so I got this grand idea to hire my neighbor's mom to write out all my birthday and thank you cards, until one of my friends called me up and said, hey, I got your card. It was a birthday card. And I'm like, great. And she's like, that's not your handwriting. But it was a little more snottier than that, right? Joy, you know, it's Linda's best friends. It's one of those snotty comments. And I knew in that moment a good gesture had gone wrong. So I was looking for something. Fast forward a couple months. I actually found this service. I can't tell you what its name is, but I found this service that did email marketing, and they also sent cards, but they only mailed their cards once a month. So as long as you had your cards in by the first of the month, they would mail them. I was like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Wouldn't it be really cool if there was a service that did this every day?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think I know the name of it too.
So, you know, I didn't go looking for it. It found me. I met a lady, my sponsor is a lady named Stacy Ryan, and she and I were in a women's networking group together called the Professional Group. And we were on a committee together, and I remember standing in the parking lot, and she's asked me what I did. I asked her what she did, and she told me about send out cards, but I'll tell you guys, I didn't get it. I was looking for this and didn't get it. And then a week later, I went to my mailbox, opened it up, and there was a card from her. And I opened it up and I got it in a heartbeat. And I knew it was exactly what I was looking for. She had put a photo of her in it. It was a heartfelt card. It had a very unique message to our conversation about how we were both going to be quitting our jobs. And I was like, yeah, I can use this service. And I knew it was the answer to my prayers. Well, I started poking around on the website and started watching videos. And this was a video that Stephen and Corey Burgess, or Stephen was in it. And he was like, talked about how he saw a whole industry shift and like, I got it. Sean, you probably remember that video. You and I have been around. And it was like, I saw what this greeting card and gift, right? Even relationship marketing, but we didn't call it that back then. Greeting card. And if you made it easy, how much bigger it could be. And I was like, I got to do this. I don't have time to do anything else because I was still full-time corporate America. I was a sales manager. I was building the other business on the side and had no plans on ever leaving that business. And my ex-husband had a business, and we had a tire store and storage units, and I was managing the back end of the storage units. So I really didn't have time for anything else, but I'm like, this is way too cool. I want to do this. And that was July 1st of 2009. And by the end of the year, I decided, you know what, I'm going to let everything else go. I'd already left my job. We went back to Africa, spent 2 weeks, and decided to build send out cards. And well over 10 years, and probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So long answer to your.
Yeah, no, that was good.
Fun.
You know, and every time I hear your story, Callie, I pick up another little piece and there's so much in there that people can resonate with, you know, and it's, you know, there's just so much. And I think, Sean, you have a very similar story. Uh-oh, Sean's frozen on us.
He is frozen. Now we can make fun of him. No, just kidding.
I don't know where you are, Sean. You're kind of froze on us, but you know, my story, I kind of just share a little bit with me. You know, I came from a retail management world and managed Kmart's for 25 plus years, so I understand that world there, but customer service was always a top priority for me. And so I made sure that, my stores were very much on that. Hi, Sean, I see you're back.
Yep, sorry. My wife keeps calling. I'm like, ah,
Oh, you got to answer that one.
no,
Yeah.
I'll call you back.
So, but I know for me, when my children were born and I was still working those kind of retail hours, as with anything corporate like that, it was just terrible being on retail salary. If someone says it's a good job, just remember, vacations, you might get vacations, but you sure work for them.
Well, you're working Christmas Eve and all kinds of
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Christmas,
Forget the
the day after
holidays.
Christmas was my worst day of the year. I told everyone, I always told I'd be a better person if I couldn't work that day, because it's just as much traffic, and just a little tidbit, it's just as much traffic as the day before. Half of the sales, and the people were so nasty.
Oh, wow.
It's just, it happened like that all the time. But anyways, so when I left that world, I kind of dabbled with a few things, but eventually when we moved up to this area in Greensburg, that was in 2002 or 2001, a month before 9/11. Is when I discovered network marketing, home party plan. And so I got into a party plan company, which, I was looking for a way to meet people because I was in a brand new area. And I thought, well, this is great. Southern Living at Home, if you remember that, as a great company that, everybody knew Southern Living magazine, and so I loved that. And it was during that time that I was introduced to send out cards. And I just played with it I used it as invites. And I did do something unique. A lot of people, I think, have really anybody in the home party plan have a real advantage if you just do this one little tidbit. Is I would take a picture of after I did my demonstration, take a picture of everybody in the group, and I would put that on the front of a card as a thank you. And to them, and nobody does that. There's many hostesses that don't even thank, or consultants that don't even thank their hostesses, but that was unique, and it was their friends, kind of thing. So that was kind of cool with that. But my turnaround was really one time I'd paid for a bunch of cards and had a bunch of them in my system, and I don't know where they came from, except I did the wrong subscription one time. I had two going in. But anyway, bottom line was I had all these cards I already paid for. It was coming into the Easter Lenten season. And so I decided for 40 days I was going to just tell myself I was going to do 3 cards a day, just random cards a day to people and just touching them. And at this point I had only used it just the typical kind of marketing. And so it was kind of fun doing that, just picking a card every day, picking 3 people out of the database that I had already accumulated in there. But what got really fun is when you're driving down the street and you see Wendy's has Employee of the Month on their sign, and you would stop, take a picture of that or get their name, come home and put a card together and send it to them and say, hey, congratulations. That's when it got really fun. And it really was fun doing that. But what I wasn't prepared for in those 120 cards that went out for that purpose was the impact that it had on everybody. And I was getting phone calls, I was getting emails, I was getting messages from people, like, oh, thank you for that card. And it's like, it's a card, it's just the card, And I actually had 2 people call me in tears. And they were just so blown away. They were having such a bad day, and here was that card. And so that's when it kind of like, I got to find out what this company is really all about. And that's exactly when I found out that the 30-day gratitude challenge actually started a year before that by Jeff Packard.
Oh, wow. Yep.
Yeah. Jeff actually started that gratitude challenge way back in the day. I really claim responsibility for it, but I guess it was really him, But
I even have a card from you.
Hey, there it is.
In the mailbox.
So that's what turned me around, and that's why I'm here today. I just absolutely love, I think the highlight of what I do is just sharing it with people. I want everyone to feel what I felt, when I was getting responses back. So that's why I'm here today. So awesome. And Sean, you have a good story.
I do. Came from a banking background, and I have this smile on Mondays now, which I didn't when I was in banking. But I do have a question. So talk to me about, share your experience from going, corporate world, 100 miles an hour, and then now you're going to do this business full time. What did that transition look? Because I think for most that get into this business, whether it's send out or I think that's the ultimate goal, that I can do this full time. I can manage my own schedule. But just share your experience of, I got to be here at 8:00. I leave at 5. They tell me what to do. Here's my calls I'm going to make, to now I'm just managing my own business. So talk to us about that.
Yeah. So mine was an interesting transition in the way that, when I quit my job, and again, it was before I should have quit my job, but I was married and had him convinced, I lost my motivation, actually. Like when I started building Send Out Cards, I didn't really have to build it, right? We had the other business. We were doing fine. We were traveling. And so it was a really interesting transition for me. I was networking a lot, but I wasn't selling a lot. In the first 6 months I did, but then I was really slow build because I didn't have that, like, why am I doing this? Yeah, it's fun and gives me a business and I'm not working, or I'm not working that corporate job. And so it was almost a break from that. And so one of the things is when someone does leave or make that transition, if your only goal is to be able to quit your job, you got to find a new goal. Right? You've got to have that motivation. The other thing that I found was really interesting was that now all my friends wanted to go to lunch all the time, right? And so I had to learn how to manage having what seemed like a lot more time on my hands, but also managing that with a business. Because again, if you don't have those goals and you don't have that motivation, it's really easy to have what I call a lost day, which is the day starts, the day ends, and you did nothing that day. Mm-hmm. And so as I started realizing what I wanted to do was Send Out Cards, and in 2013, 2014, 4 or 5 years in, really deciding, okay, I need to make this something. And that's a story. In my sales background, in my corporate career, I'd always been like in the top. And I'd gone to the A&MP, and it was 2013, and Cody was there. Cody Bateman, our founder, and Dave Smith, and I forget who was all there. And there was a table and they were all sitting at, and there was an extra seat, and I wanted that seat. But Melanie Bryers and Willie Diefenbach Jones were with me, and Willie was brand new in the business. And I justified that. I was like, oh, I can't sit there unless they invited me. Well, they never invited me because they had no idea who I was. And that actually was enough to like set the spark on me again, to say, you know what, you're better than this. There is a reason you're in this business. You need to go and build. And that was the spark that got me excited. And so as I got excited, excuse me just a second, I really looked at truly treating Send Out Cards as a business. And one of the things I realized was I was showing up at networking events. I was telling people, sorry guys, hold on.
Hey, it's all impromptu. It's all good.
I know, talk a little bit. I'll come back to that.
Sean, I'm going to ask you that same question. I just want you to know that. Because you where you were at in your transitions a little bit more recent than Callie's, correct?
Yeah, about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back.
Got your voice back? We can dub you over.
You can dub her over. I don't know how to do that.
It's live. We'll go. And so one of the things that I realized was I was working a lot. I was attending a lot of events. I was sending cards. I really wasn't a master of the heartfelt card then than I am now. But I wasn't stopping and showing people Send Out Cards. And that's the big difference. That's when my business changed. When I realized that for me to be successful, I needed to be showing people, 1 to 2, and when I'm on a run, really 3 times a day, I need to be showing people Send Out Cards. And if I was going and working all week and acting like I was working all of these hours, but I was only showing 1 to 2 people in a week about Send Out Cards, no wonder my business wasn't growing. Right. And if you're working, part-time, maybe you're only showing 1 to 2, but if you want to do this full-time, you need to treat it like a full-time business. If I was in sales and I only had 2 meetings a week, I would have gotten fired. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sean, you came out of the mortgage business. Just think if you only talked to 2 prospects a week and showed
right. No, wouldn't be enough.
Right. You wouldn't be putting food on the table. And so it was really looking at what I call money-making activity and non-money-making activity. And now my calendar, I actually put in, so what's money-making activity? It's, being out and in front of people showing send out cards. Non-money-making activity is, for me, I would put a networking event would be money making if I had goals. I went in there and, you know what, I want to meet 3 or 5 new people here. Just working with my team. If I was just coaching my team, probably not non-money making, right? And there's certain things we do. Sending cards, right? Yeah, that's a hard one. It can fall into both.
If we're doing it the right way, it should be non-money making, but it turns into money making, I think.
Right. All I ever do is send cards, but I never go out and show anyone how send out cards works and how to send a card. Then I'm really not making money, right? And there's a lot of people, and I see it in our official group. It's like, well, I've sent all these cards and nothing's happened. Well, one, you're putting an outcome on those cards, and really a heartfelt card is having no outcome, right? And if you do it and you just give, things will come back, but you don't send for them to come back. And that's a really hard thing, especially because of taking marketing like in college and having an ROI, return on investment on everything you do, right? You don't really have that here. The other thing is, if you're not showing someone how to send a card and you're not asking them to join, your business is not going to grow. You've got to have that piece as well. Like it's like you're walking, 2 steps and you've got to walk both. If all you're doing is showing send out cards and not sending cards, you're in trouble there because you're not a product of the product. You're not becoming who we are. And then if you're only sending cards but never showing, you're missing it. So there is that balance there. And I think that in a lot of cases, we're missing one or the other.
Great. That's great advice. It's so true because, I think almost every week I get somebody say, well, I sent out so many cards and, nobody's getting back to me. It's like, well, if that's why you're sending them, you're in the wrong place,
Right. I
thinking
never think about I send so many cards now that I don't think about, did this person get back with me? I just keep sending. And
I know.
I do things.
Or they do contact you and it's like, I got to go back and see what I sent them because I don't remember.
Then you're doing them for the right reason.
It's like,
I love our card history. I absolutely love our card history because someone will say, thank you for the card. And I'm like, what did I send?
I know.
It's like, okay, now I remember what I said.
Yeah. I love though you can see what card too. So it's a quick thing to try to figure it. I just had somebody today, man, can I go back and see what cards I sent somebody? I said, oh my gosh, yeah, go back and do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then don't send them the same card again.
I know. Isn't that the truth? Jeez. That's why I'm glad they keep adding more cards in there. So I know that if I do this new one, I know they didn't get it already, kind of a thing. So.
And I will say one thing over, having been in this business for 10 years, and I do travel a lot now. My husband lives international until he's in the US. One of the things I realized with this is when I go to work now, I'm I'm in work mode, right? Blinders on. I'm not checking email. I'm not scrolling Facebook. If I'm working, I'm working. So literally, I work less hours than I used to. If I'm home all week, I'm trying to get in 5 hours a day, right? 25 hours a week. If I'm traveling, I'm trying to find 2 hours on my travel days, 5 days a week. But when I sit down to work, it's very focused, right? It is. And there are certain things that I do in my work time, right? It's send out cards, it's send cards. I do a lot of building through social media these days. So it's going into Facebook message. I've started what I call my heart connection list. And literally I have all my contacts in there and I'm building it that are interested in send out card. I don't really like the word prospects in our business, right? But all those connections, I have my clients, I have my team. And literally I'm going through that and saying, who haven't I talked to in a while? And just going out and reaching out and saying, hey, how you do it. And it's not always a conversation about, are you using your send out cards count? It's holidays.
Right,
Are you ready yet? But it's doing what we teach. It's 80% relationship, 20% marketing. And by having them in a sheet there, I can just kind of go down my list and say, hey, Sean, haven't talked to you in a while. How are things in your life? How's the family? Right? And really focusing on the relationship. And when I've done that and changed, my business has completely changed.
Sure.
Well, let me ask you, that brings me another question, Callie. What kind of a list do you do? Is it an Excel sheet? Is it manual? Or what is it that harbors that content?
Everything, but what I found works for me is Excel.
Okay.
I tried, like, I know Jordan talks about the 2 notebooks, but I would lose people. And I would, like, the next thing I'd know, they'd be in the book 3 times. And so I used an Excel. I've always been in Excel. I love Excel. If it frightens you, you don't have to use it. You can handwrite it. Willie Diefenbach-Jones on my team, she uses a written list in a binder, right? And moves people through. I use Excel because I like my computer and I like Excel. And literally what I keep track of, what's their name? How did I meet them? So it's really social media, networking, referral, what I call lifestyle. So maybe, I'm going to be on a plane later today. If I meet someone, that's going to be lifestyle. And then one that I call, it's not called past connection, but it's something like where they came out of maybe like high school or college. We probably reconnected through Facebook, but Facebook wasn't our initial meeting, right? And so I'm just watching those really 5 areas of how did I meet them. Next question is, have I sent them a card? Have they gotten a heartfelt card? Like, if it's blank, it means no. If there's a yes, it's yes. Do I have their birthday? Because I'm a big believer in birthday and half birthday cards.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are. Thank you.
Yeah. And so I used to, when I got started in, I'll digress real quick. When I started in send out cards, one of my goals was to send birthday cards to every contact that I had. That was how I was going to. And then I would send holiday cards, like a Christmas card. Well, it made my Christmas card massive, right? That list just got so huge. And if their birthday was in December, they'd hear from me twice in December and not the rest of the year. Yeah. So I decided to do birthday and half birthday cards, because if they got no other card from me in the year, they would at least get 2, and they were perfectly 6 months apart. I'm like, that works.
Yeah.
And it works. I just had a gentleman, Bobby, who I met networking back in 2014 or 15. I've been sending birthday cards to him. I've sent him 8 cards, and he called me off the birthday card, and he signed up with our 97 Unlimited with a system package, and a company that he works with, the owner over there, signed up with the 97 and a system package, all in one meeting. And he asked me, he's like, was this your easiest close? I'm like, well, you did call me. Right?
Yeah.
And that's where I had no, like, I've been sending him birthday cards, and sometimes I wonder, I'm like, why do I send birthday cards? I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing it. I had no specific, like, oh, he's going to call me and sign up, but he did. You just never know. Yeah. So I want to know, I want to get everyone into birthdays. Things that I track are we Facebook friends? So if I met them outside of Facebook, because that's where I do most of my communication. Have I sent them a copy, or do they have a copy of Cody's book, The Power of Human Connection? When did I meet them? When did I show them send out cards? Are they interested? I mean, literally. Oh, and have I added them into YSOC, right? Those are the things. So I can literally look across the sheet and say, you know what? I've been telling this person, I don't have their address yet. Let me go ask them and see if I can get their address.
Wow. Well, now I know why you're the affiliate of the year.
Runner-up.
Or runner-up, I'm sorry. Yeah. But, it's like real interesting because, from the time I met you to today, even that's been a transition for you, and you have, what you do with YSOC and everything, you're helping so many people out there. So, commend you for that, because I think everyone's really benefiting by, your knowledge and your passion, and, we love you, Callie.
Thank you. And YSOC would not be YSOC without Phoebe Trotman. I mean, she is the creative behind that. Yeah. Sit down and brainstorm, and it's been a really good team effort. It wouldn't be what it is without her.
Yeah. Well, it's real interesting you say that, because I really feel like there's so many things in SOC now that everything is a team effort. Even with being on the Eagles Nest calls and that type of thing, you really feel like you're such a part of this company and everything. And I think they really take to heart what people say,
Yeah.
and they're listening in the field, and it's wonderful to be part of that. A little different than the corporate world.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Yeah. So.
And you don't have to commute anymore. That was the biggest thing. This morning I am working with an eye doctor. They're actually signing up this afternoon, but they asked me to go in and meet with the lady who was going to be sending the cards. And she's not over computer savvy, but we've got it down to a system card, very easy. All she has to do is go in, add one thing, hit send. And I was driving to the North Loop of Houston. It was an hour and 20-minute drive this morning. I'm like, I do not miss this traffic.
No, not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
All that alone time with yourself.
I got a lot of personal development in. I'm a big
Yes, absolutely.
audio, but yeah.
Yeah. So, well, hey, we're at our 30 here, but Callie, I don't. Sean, any last words No,
I appreciate you sharing, and I think we got some good nuggets, and hopefully people will take some things away. And it's funny when people are like, I send cards, I'm not getting anything. And it's like, still not sending for the right reasons, but we eventually get it. So, but thanks for sharing. It was great.
Yeah. It's a hard transition. And thanks to you guys for doing these. These are awesome.
Yeah.
And you guys are helping everyone in the SOC world as well. So I love it. And complete honor to be asked to.
The honor is ours. Thank you so much, Callie, for being here. And everybody have a great week. And we'll see you next week on our SOC Talks. Both Sean and I post these on our YouTube channel. So if you want to check out Sean, check out me, you'll be able to pull this up again. And of course, all the SOC world out there, it's always on the official site. So thank you, guys. We'll see ya.
Thank you. Take care.